Welcome to Terra Talks. I'm joined by two fabulous people, Heidi and Abby Lynn. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Honestly, I know there's quite a bit of time difference between us all, so thank you so much. What I really want to talk about, or the first thing, is used to doing an incredible thing called Raising Starseeds. So please tell me where the idea came from, tell me why you want to do it, and tell me where you want to go with it. Any one of you first. I don't,
All right.
because I love you both. I don't care in that sense. Just go for it, okay?
Again, thank you so much for having us on the show, Robert. I love being here. Always loving an opportunity to talk.
Yeah.
That was my problem as my starseed problem was it was never the grades. They could never get me to shut up in the classroom. I would be grounded for the comments on my report card. But my favorite one was believes my class is her social hour. So, the idea for it was, I was raising 3 kids that were living and seeing beyond the veil, and I didn't have anyone to talk to, and I didn't really have anyone to go to. I was relying on all the books that I had growing up, and so when things were happening, it made sense. I kind of knew how to handle it. The first thing was, we can't squash this. Don't shut this down. Okay, how can we foster this and help work through it, because it can be really overwhelming. And I helped my husband through it too. Because just like Heidi, and this is where Heidi and I really connected, is we had a very similar upbringing. Our experiences.
Yep.
And she also has starseed kids, and we really wanted a place where parents could go to, so they didn't feel so alone.
I think it's a phenomenal idea, and how phenomenal, but a simple concept to me. Looking in what yous are doing and the energy you both have, especially you, Heidi. So yous are raising the future. Yous are raising or teaching. Not just your own kids, but everybody's kids. Is that how? Have you always been teaching your kids this stuff, Heidi?
They've been teaching me since conception. I have always kind of been a teacher. I went to university for that. I have been in motion picture forever, but I also have always gone to the kids. And Abby actually approached me with the project. And so it's been rumbling for months with us. We even tried taping back in May and we just knew something was supposed to happen with this, because there hasn't been a lot of talk about our next generation. There's been a lot of people healing and getting their voice, but a lot of us are parents. And so we're like, whoa, I got some eyeballs on me. I got to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So just trying to help guide in that sense. So
to me, that's the great thing, is the fact that you're not just thinking of your own kids. You're thinking, you're putting stuff out there for everybody, not just awaken people within the community. This is just for everybody. The likelihood is they incarnated here for that new earth, but have they came with the veil totally away from their eyes, or have they came partially? But having used to doing that, and I'm just going to admit now, and I know not many guys will, and I'm not sure I'll take any shit for this, but as a father, I often looked at my kids' relationship with their mother, and I tried to replicate that, because you look on it and you go, why is they've got such a connection? Then you realise that there's that 9 months, there's all that nurturing, and guys are not always honest, but I am about this. And to me, I tried to replicate, that cannot be replicated. So if you want to say jealousy to a degree, there was like, to me, I could never understand it. Then I put myself with my own mother, and after I lost her, it was like a huge connection, that physical connection, it was gone. But thanks to a lot of stuff that yous teach, that yous do, you can connect to that soul, that next realm. So the physical may be gone, but that ether, type thing is still there. How many kids do you have, Abby?
I have 3 kids.
3, and how many? It's one of 2 genders, I hope.
Yeah. Sorry.
We ain't raising no liberal starseeds here, are we?
No, I have 2 girls and a boy.
2 girls and a boy. Heidi?
Yeah. I have a girl and a boy.
Girl and a boy. There you go.
Yeah.
A great mixture.
Pardon?
A great mixture.
Yeah, it is. I'm good. And when you were talking about your ma, it's interesting. We had this woman on our show, Katie O'Soul, and
oh, yeah.
I wound up getting a session with her later, and I just spoke with my dad. My dad passed in 2018. So we always have those connections, and it's such a beautiful thing, and knowing that he's around still for my kids.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, do you both think, right, we've got an awakened people right across the world, and we've got what I would claim is, or say is unawakened. Do you think that even the unawakened know deep down something's going on, something's different, the feelings, the energies? What's your gut feel for this?
I personally think some people are, those who are supposed to get it, and those who don't. They're kind of fillers. And then you and I use the same word. I don't know if you've heard of my little characters, the Muggles. I live amongst the Muggles. Some are just not retaining information. And so I just, I just don't think some are supposed to. But I think that's why we all do the things we do, is to wake up those that are actually have their receptors out, ready to receive.
Yeah. What about you, Abby? How do you see it?
Well, first I'm going to say, because people are probably saw me shouting in the background but muted, because there's like a window, and I just saw my little brown dog take off across the table.
Oh no!
She's yelling at her kids, everybody.
He's part basset hound, so if he gets out of the yard, he's gone. I'm kind of like sweating right now, because I think I'm just watching my dog.
Don't mute yourself next time. We want to hear you curse and swear and shout. Okay, it's the whole point of this show.
I want your octave to go, hey.
You gotta get back
I will say that I did drama club, and I was the only one who was not mic'd because I could project. Okay, so to get back to the question, yes, I have been told by so many different dimensional beings, and even just my guides, that especially now at this point, if they are not getting it, that they absolutely are not going to. I did last month I was doing a session, and actually this beautiful lion being from the Orion, he said he was a messenger from the Orion Council of Light, so he's not on the council, he's a messenger. He came in and he said the full armor of light is here. And he said those who are too blind to see this great light, they are never going to see it. And he said we send them all of our love, we send them
of course
love. But he said that is not to be of concern for you any longer at this point.
Right, okay. We're all of the kind of similar opinion. I know you and I, Abby, when we were in certain groups, that it was about that holding that hand, standing firm in the face of adversity. You okay, Heidi?
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. Just go for it. That's the whole point of this show. We whatever goes, and don't mute, don't do nothing. Just go for it.
Okay. My lipstick fell down, everybody.
Wait a minute. I'll just put the video off so I can put some of mine on. Because I'm okay either way. I am okay either way. That just making that stand, letting people see you making that stand is quite powerful. I think I think we're all of that opinion that passerbys looking, seeing people. I mean, I was doing a stand in a park, just every Sunday, and it wasn't to talk about, I'm trying not to say it, the jabby jab or whatever, but it was just to show people, look, we can still don't be afraid. If you want to be cautious, that's fine, but don't do make that stand. What's it like where you both live? Because I know you both in different time zones. Heidi, what's it like where you are? Because you're in California, is that right?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, Deep State Central. Deep State Central.
Not only Deep State Central, but I worked for the Deep State and the cabal for 30 years. And speaking of taking a stand, so I was I just walked away in March 2020, but I was in front of the camera 15 years and behind the camera 15 years, and I was a snack lady. So my job title was craft services. It's with local lady, but they all started calling me craftspiracy because I'd pass out things and be like, here's your flu shot. You know, it'd be ginger and greens and the good stuff. I go, not that chemical peel cells you get. It's all delivery with a wink and a smile. They'd be like, what'd she just say? And then someone was like, go to that crafty lady, ask her anything, talk about ETs. She goes crazy. So I took my stand years ago, but I made it a shtick. So I felt very protected, and then I found the others. So I was like, then they started getting, but now it's literally just unsafe for me to be on set. Can't hide my smile that long, and my whole job title changed really, you know, but a lot of people, I mean, it's the land of ego out here. That's why everyone flocks to Hollywood, and it's ego-based, and it's a system generated to create loosh. You know, the dreams and the hopes for a starring part when they promise the SRA survivor that's what they get. You know, it's just loosh generating. So when I started living above the matrix and looking out in it, I'm like, ooh, I can be a light within it. And I did that for a while, but this particular plandemic, scamdemic, I was like, the muggles are out of control. People are kind of imploding. I'm like, gotta protect myself first. So then my focus was like, okay, let me just focus on my kids.
And this is what leads you towards that. What about you, Abby? Where you are, is it, you know, is people making a stand? Is people trying to live as normal as possible? What's it like?
I am on the exact opposite of the country of Heidi. You could literally just draw a line. So I'm in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's actually been really interesting because our state as a whole is a very, what we're going to call a red state. But Charleston County itself, it's being very evident, is a very deep state controlled county. I mean, so during the worst part of the blip, they actually hired over 150 brown shirts. I'm calling them brown shirts.
Well, that's what they are. That's what they are.
To walk around, and this is in historical Charleston, to hand out tickets for people who didn't have masks on outside. I mean, we're talking 9 degrees in humidity. It's just absurd. So and downtown's only 15 minutes for me. I did not go there for almost a year. I won't do. I don't participate in clown shows.
Muggle shows, the
muggle. Like, I just don't do it. I won't participate in it. Now, I'm actually surprised there's no videos floating around of me because I have gone in stores and I do make scenes. You know, I remind people what constitutional rights are. I remind them of my sovereignty. They can't damage my body. It's adorable when people have tried to muzzle my children. That didn't work out for them the way they planned. You know, I have no issue. I'm very I have a nice sweet face. Don't mess with my children and don't mess with my rights. Like I know it's not.
But you are both like that. You know, you've got this. You've got this. You know, and I'm not. You know how I feel about you. You know, and the kind of rise of the divine feminine. It's incredible. You know, I've been to marches. You know, here in Scotland, and 70% of them are women. They're just, you know, they're finding this strength, this power, and it's that kind of sports analogy. You know, there's music, there's love, there's dancing, and then it's like a wave, and you just get caught up, and you're just watching. You know, just like you said, women are walking into shops, and they're researching common law, they're researching their rights, they're researching all these different things. They're looking at holistic, you know, practices and all the rest, and it's phenomenal to see. And they're dragging, you know, guys to a degree, you know, up, you know, come on, let's do this. And, you know, use both, you know, like you said, the way, you know, let's say, you know, from a superficial point of view, the way you look quite innocent, very kind of playful. but you fuck with us, I'm gonna bring heaven. I'm gonna bring, my guides. I'm bringing everything down in you fuckface. So don't come near me. Don't try and muzzle my kids. Don't try and tell me my rights. I've done it.
Yeah. Yep.
So I love that. I absolutely love that.
And then I get him in the end with the little Scorpio tail. I usually have that last, and then it's done.
Well, my whole thing is I know I'm an Orion hybrid, and so I always look at my friends like, why are they trying to bring out the Orion side of me? Like,
yeah. Have you any idea what you're fucking with here? Do you know? You're going to bring a world of pain. So again, this brings this back to your kids, the way you're bringing them up, and you're almost bringing them up the way they always should have been. The way, coming away from the programming, coming away. I mean, what they're introducing. I've always felt there's a huge tie between the current government in Scotland and the blue states. Our First Minister spent time with Gavin Newsom a couple of years ago at let's call it the forum, the CIA forum, and
Bohemian.
Yeah.
Bohemian.
Yep. And and we started releasing prisoners here like a year ago, so during the height of the pandemic, and because they're like, well, we're going to stop the spread, and you're going, I built prisons in this country, and most of these prisoners are one to a cell, so you're literally stopping the spread. But then a week later, Gavin Newsom started releasing prisoners. With the putting infected people into old folks' homes. You said that in the 5 states. I
had a friend lose their father. Yeah. Newsom flew out. I'm sorry to interrupt. He flew out right when we locked down a COVID positive case from New York over here to Bel Air at one of the most affluent nursing homes. Time Warner Cable Air was killed. A lot of them were killed. So I'm like, I see what you did there. Yeah. It was gnarly.
Yeah. So so when I was kind of trying to put those, join the dots, I was like, why are we doing some 5.5 million people live in Scotland? I think there's 65 in Britain, but we're doing stuff, and then only the blue states, 5 of the main blue states in the US, a week later are doing everything. I'm going, are we a testing ground? For what's happening? There's the prisons, there's the critical race theory, there's the, this sexualizing kids. When I was at school, I'm 47 now, so I was at school. Yeah, hey, listen, age comes wisdom. So I keep telling myself, but not yet. And I didn't get sex education until I was about 15, and it was just like, here's a woman's bits, here's a man's bits. They go together, something comes out, baby's made. Right, that was it. But what they're teaching now is that, kids as young as 5 and 6, they're teaching them masturbation with Nutella. They're actually promoting to tell you, and I'm like, you don't teach kids that. You wouldn't even teach that to a teenager. So, but you're having that in the US as well, aren't you?
I hear. Yeah, I don't see it. We haven't been involved with that, but and that's not our route. But I know it's happening, and I know why. And it's just like why the violent video games and all these things is to desensitize the kids, and they're going earlier and earlier and earlier because the starseeds are coming in and in and in. Yeah. So it's pretty gnarly.
Now, use both. So, yous are now on your show. Yous are getting teachers now, aren't you? And is that to help people homeschool now, Abby? Is that the idea behind this as well? That it's not just about teaching all the great esoteric stuff, all the about meditation, all these different things. Are you now looking about helping people how they would go about homeschooling?
Well, so the classrooms that we're having right now are to teach the esoteric with the kids.
I think it's brilliant.
Just so that they can better understand it. Because again, a lot of kids have abilities, but they don't have words to put to it. Sometimes words are more powerful and make it more concrete and whole. And because one thing when you're awakening is you're having these experiences, but you don't understand necessarily what they are. It took me years and years to finally realize what I was. And then the minute that I did, I knew how to empower myself.
Right.
Because, for forever, I would tell people, well, I'm just kind of off. I just can't really do crowds. I just I just feel really off. And my husband didn't understand why, if we would go out with a group of people, why I needed to know who was going to be there. It wasn't because I didn't like them per se, but before I went, I needed to prepare my energy level for who I was going to be around. Like, because you feel everything. And so it really wasn't until I found some more words to understand what it was, because then once I understood it, then I knew how to protect myself better and empower myself, to where then I don't like the word victim, because that's not what we are.
No. Yep, I get what you mean.
But so now I can go into areas more willingly, and I'm not as greatly physically affected.
Do you know, the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up, because just what I resonated hugely with what you just said there. I was the same with crowds. I have never got that just until you said that there. I thought it was I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like a fear I had to come across, come over or heal about something, but I could never, remember back when I was in a crowd that it would make me fearful. But looking back, even when I was married and that, I was like, who we going out with? And I would remember, going, for fuck's sake, we're going out with them, or, whatever. But subconsciously, I could have been mentally prepared, just what you said there. But out of my 47 years on the planet, it's taken me to have you two here, and you say that, and I go, penny dropped. Oh my God, this is nuts, And again, this maybe, in the stars that we were meant to have this conversation. That's the thing I love about our community, is that, as well as even debate, we don't always have the same, no views, but, certain people we might not always agree, but we can have an open debate without falling out with each other. I think one of the hardest things right now, I don't know about you, is, not even having conversations with muggles, because I still love it. I love that you use that as well. But we'll cover that in a wee bit. I want to cover a bit of the whole Harry Potter thing anyway. Is that even with people that's maybe just awakened, this year or during, because of the pandemic, if they're still in the kind of jabby jab phase, and where yous are and the stuff that yous do, this is a hell of a journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you try and have those conversations with even partly awake people, it can be quite daunting. I don't always enjoy it.
It's a dodge and weave for sure. Like, my little tagline of my crafty company was craft service with a wink and a smile, because you'd be like, it's all in the delivery, and you have to read your audience. You can't shove red pills down their throat. You're just like, do you like it? You want another one? Another one. This is for later.
First one's got a bit of sugar coating on it. It's a wee bit sweet. Do you like that? I've got something else. It's a wee bit more tangy in this one, but boom, there you go. Because I remember when I first...
to let them be, let them simmer on it. Do not go like, well, forget it, and they're hopeless. It's just people are starting to come around and ask more questions, and people are actually starting to, or they're just completely shutting you off, and that's okay. Yeah. You just can't be emotionally attached to that. They're going through their own journey of it.
Yeah. I call it needling. I needle people. I just kind of like boop, and put a little thing, and then I kind of like sit back and see how they feel. Are they like bleeding to death? No. Okay. Boop, and then I do it like I just call it needling. So
I
and then sometimes you just gotta go.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember when I first realised all that stuff. I was going out like a fire hose, trying to soak everybody with all this stuff. Why are you not awaking? You're soaking.
Oh
and I think it was James Gilliland that actually said, like, treat it like a flower. You plant a seed, you just, do a wee bit of nurturing daily, and then just revisit it again. But I'm out there, and I'm going, what the fuck's wrong with people,
I went full reptilian on people in the beginning, especially my kids' brand new little Waldorf school in 2014. By the end of it, when we locked down, I'd just drop them off and pick them up. Like, I had like one pal, because I just was like, handkerchiefs, red scarves, what do you want to talk about? Reptilian, they're shape-shifting, and they're like, what is wrong with her? So you gotta like know your audience.
you do need to know your audience.
But you can't help it when you get all that information, you're busting at the seams. So that's why it's so important to find the others and get these conversations going, so we can all get a pressure release. Like, I can talk with people. Ultimately, I started hosting gatherings here because I wanted to get people together to talk about this stuff.
I get you. You both have been involved in quite a few gatherings. There was the Starseed Adventures, was it this year or last year? ESETI. Regulars there, and for me, when you do this, and I know it could be anything, like 20 or whatever, 100, whatever, that impact that I use, especially Starseeds getting together, has a huge impact worldwide. That would be kind of right, because you're gathering, right, for one purpose, to spend time, high vibrations, talk, heal, listen, and when you do that, it must be like the pebble in the pond. You put it in the middle and the ripples. So it must go worldwide there.
Yeah, it does. When all of us come in together, I rarely sleep because the energy is just so high that, well, number one, people, if they do sleep, they have incredible dreams, like just crazy dreams. But the other one is, or they just can't sleep because they just can't get to rest, because it's like all your batteries are getting powered up. And so, I usually don't eat that much or sleep that much when I come to gatherings together. Or then I come back home and I crash for a week.
They must get a lot out of you. I don't think enough people kind of realise that. I mean, I got my Reiki 1 attunement, I think, in 2014. And it was like a 12-hour session, and I was knackered for a week. But my problem with Reiki was, I could heal, but I was absorbing. I didn't know how to release. I didn't follow it up after that. The reason I did it is because I was with a girl. She was struggling. She felt there was something coming out of me. So I thought I'd go and get a bit of training. But I found it difficult to release. So I was taking on their pain, their emotion. And I just didn't know how to release it. It was quite crazy, actually. But for some reason, like this, what I'm doing now, I'm returning to Reiki. And when I look at all yous, ever since I started doing this 2-3 weeks ago, I felt so much better. It was like a fear that the judgment and whatever. But healing's not a bad thing. But people like, you mentioned it, Abby, the victim mentality. They like that. I know people that the universe is bad, so what can I do to change it? Nothing. So, and it's almost their identity is now the victimhood type thing. And I think that's where my strange thing comes in with my ex-wife, which is probably better not saying on a video. Estranged from my kids are growing up, they're adults, but my oldest son is he's signed up to your channel because he's raising my granddaughter, who is without a shadow of a doubt a starseed, and that's to me that's incredible, because I wouldn't just give them anybody. I give it because it's used to, and I've got to know you. Granted, just on social media, we've messaged now and again, we've been in the same chats, but the good side of technology must be this now, that we can talk live, so to speak. We can see each other, we can hear each other's voice, you can see the emotion, you can see how damn fucking handsome I am, or, whatever it is. You get that? But do you know what I mean? So there's a good side to it as well, but to know it's used to behind us gives me great faith for my granddaughter.
Yeah, I mean, I take it as this is where we can take social media platforms and we just flip it on them. We hijack it, and and this is actually the beautiful part of what we're doing is, when people demonize social media, I always say, then you're not using it in the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, come on. The world has gotten so much smaller for so many of us. Look at this. I mean, they built, these dark people built all of these incredible these machines.
Yeah.
Us starseeds can find each other.
Yeah, and look at us, because I often ask myself, why the fuck would I incarnate here? And I don't know how many's in Britain, right? But most of you are over there. Now I know America's a huge place, you know, there's a huge distance between you guys. But I'm like, but you can still be in country and meet up at ESETI, Starseed events, and I'm sitting going, fucking poor me, you know, all my friends are over there enjoying themselves. Why the fuck would I come here? And then somebody comes along and goes, oh, I love your video, or I love your post, and I'm going, hey! And then I'd be sad again because I'm not with. So I'm just wanting you to feel sorry for me right now. So
well, Mike,
you send me some love.
You're needed over there. You're a geo point.
I
you're
to realise that. Yeah. Yeah, it's really
and like you said, when your hair's still on your neck. Yeah, you're gonna be activated, and now after this, you'll go out and you'll change Scotland.
Yeah,
and find the others. We gotta find some now.
I'm half expecting. You know, there's some people that want to pitchfork me. I'm okay with that. Do you know what I mean? I keep saying, look, you know what I love. Don't, you know, just because I'm maybe showing a bit of kindness and all the rest of it. You know, there comes that kind of, you know, I'll spray that hose again, like, you know what I mean? But I'll not be water this time. For some reason, because I'll need to edit this bit, so for some reason it's got 2 minutes left. So what I'm going to do is, when we come out of this, I'll send the next invitation and then we'll come back on. Is that okay? Because 40 minutes is not enough for this. So just popped up there, just in case. Okay. But no, you're absolutely right.
Sure.
You know, so you really believe that where we are right now is where we incarnated to be, to help?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've lived all over. I lived Pacific Northwest. I'm from Chicago. I lived in Wisconsin and Texas and here. And I kind of lived here more than half my life.
You're
and
just
on my own.
That fire hose, aren't you?
And then my only missing piece was East Coast, and there's Abby. So we're like,
and there's Abby. Abby's holding up the whole East Coast.
No, there's tons of light. There's tons of light. Actually, there's a lot of light moving to Charleston. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But you know, it was funny. I asked my guides once because, you know, as I was getting all my memories back, because I grew up in a very, very small town in Ohio, and I'm like, why did I choose to incarnate there? Like, why did I choose that? And my higher self, my guides came in. They said we had to put you somewhere place you would be hidden and safe while you grow.
There you go.
Yeah, so they couldn't find me. So.
No, I'm with you. I'm more convinced of these things now. You know, even I knew going back into work, it wasn't, you know, we still get bills and that to pay, but I knew with the way I am now that going back into work, I may be able to help. Maybe, like you said, Heidi, or you know, the way you just drop that red pill, or maybe somebody just needs an ear to listen. So I was okay with going back into, you know, my, you know, unawakened profession with this new kind of found, you know, eyesight, so to speak, you know, that kind of whole third eye thing. But so it's just about to end now. And one of the things I want to talk about is the likes of third eye auras, and, you know, feeling, and then we're going to hit the muggles. We're going to fucking hit the muggles so hard, right? We're going to awaken. So one I think I'd like both your opinions on is in the heat of battle, so to speak. Abby, you mentioned it, kind of, I've got to say this, right, because it's my thing now. When we were in the green room, you know, when we were off air, we had a chat, we shared some biscuits, some scones. You said something about in the heat of battle that, you know, a lot of us aren't in the heat of battle anymore. It's more a kind of observing. So can you take us through, you know, explain where you're coming from? That'd be great.
You know, one thing I've kind of just noticed, you know, talking with a number of starseeds is, while we are all watching all of these global systems collapse, you know, while it is very hard and frustrating for us to be observing it, but we need to kind of take note that how we have individually aligned our timeline, our personal timeline, our lives, that we're not directly being impacted or in this battle. We're being able to be in a place of observing it, and how fortunate so many of us are that we are able to observe it. And I think that's because while we are observing, we're not like in those trenches, then we can be spreading our light and impacting in that way. And, you know, we are able to, like Heidi and I and you, we're able to be doing these podcasts because we're not out in those trenches right now dealing with it. So.
And it's a great shout, because if you were, you know, if I say, take it from my point of view, all I'd be doing would be effing this, effing that, you know, calling out, you know, that kind of 3D level government, you know, kind of media type thing, and that is not observing. That is, like you said, you know, you're too much in the front lines, you know. But to be an observer, you can still be boots on the ground, but boots on the ground can take many meetings like this, like what you guys are doing, because you again, I fucking love what you are doing, because I see the way my mind's working right now. I mean, I'm dyslexic, and I used to hide it because, you know, the job that I was in, worked my numbers, so we'd always double check. Until I met a guy and he told me, no, you know, don't look on it that way, look on it that you just look at things differently. So see, when I did that, I was like, oh wow, this is quite powerful actually. Do you know what I mean? To use it, so my mind could work quite quickly through a scenario. So see, talking to you guys about what you are doing with Raising Starseeds, this is going like this right now, and just fast forwarding to you know, to what you are doing, the way the kids are going to behave, the way they're going to interact with other kids. You know, they will likely wake up other starseeds. Honestly, my mind's going like this right now. It's literally going like this right now.
So let's piggyback on what you're just saying, Robert. You know, with your dyslexia and how it's actually an advantage because you can see things in a different way. You know, so many of us often complain about, oh, well, I'm empathic, I feel everything and everything. Use that as your superpower. Use that as that's your barometer. I mean, right now, I taught a course here out of my house in building up your natural intuitiveness, and what a beautiful skill that is to have right now, because how I use my intuitiveness, and I actually opened up a bit more with my empathicness, was when I physically went into a space, I feel out, especially around different people. All right, these people are fully in fear mode with their muzzleness. I could figure out the people that were muzzled because they felt they had to, but they believed it was bullshit.
Oh, right.
People who were muzzled and in fear. So I use that ability, that intuitiveness, that, you know, that empathic abilities that we have, as that helped me navigate for the past 18 months how I could engage with people. So you flip it from, oh, this thing, oh, I can feel everything, to, oh no, this is how I am mining this field right now.
Fucking hell, you dropped another one there, like, and you must be the same, Heidi, to the degree that, you know, with the field of work you were in, you know, you'd be feeling folk out, you know, in that kind of intuitive sense, you know, almost like, he can maybe cope with a sugar-coated red pill, or I'm going to give him the, you know, the kind of tonguey one, you know, so...
And then there were some real jerks.
I mean, they must come in really handy for that.
All in the delivery, and I'd be like, you seem very crabby today. Do you take probiotics? You know, like, I'll be like, do you need a hug? You know, like, that's what I was doing that.
But then that goes to your Care Bear share, the way you start it, and it's like, do you need a hug? And I'm going, yes. You know, it's
true. Most everybody just needs that. And then bringing it back to the kids, and this blip, we call it the blip, the 18 months. I know I've shared this before, and I'm sorry if it gets redundant.
No, you go.
Probably right. The lemonade stand, like we were in full lockdown. I hosted a lemonade stand, no masks allowed, and I had handouts for Bill Gates and all, and I had quinine and shots and cures, and we're in the sun, and the police even came by and we waved, gave lemonade, no trouble. So I showed my kids, you got to OB1 everything, and be like, you sparkle so bright they don't see you. We've walked into Target without masks, and that's in LA. That was pretty hard. And I'm like, and when I do, I have the same sheer that I traveled to the conference with, this sheer scarf. You have to show your smile, but I lost my train of thought, but I think you know what I meant.
So also, okay, I'm going to jump in another another fun exercise that my kids and I have done during this, and I've been telling people, like, this is like no better kind of like testing ground to play with in the first 8 months to practice your abilities.
Yeah.
So when we would be going someplace new, when we were essentially kind of like really shut down here, we didn't know, like, well, maybe they're not gonna let us in without masks. We would all as a group manifest that we were going to encounter the person at the door that's not going to say a word. Everyone that's going to be on shift is going to be okay with it. And then sometimes we even would focus on, like, I would do this, and I would tell the kids, okay, so we're gonna focus and put intention and put a bright light from our pineal gland into theirs, where we're going to access a memory part of their brain where they remember a time where nobody ever wore masks. So then when they see us, it's just triggering that memory of people don't wear masks. So we're not even going. And so we practiced that, and we did that, and we really worked on manifestation everywhere we went. And honestly, hardly anything ever happened.
That's amazing. And I love you covered that, because I'm going to bring up a post of yours, and it's to do with the kids and the training the experiences you do. You do this game where is it the color of the car?
Yeah, the Matrix.
Can you do that? Can you cover that for us? Because I remember your post, and I was like, this is you only again, it's almost like the kind of old superhero thing, right? To me, we probably used the word psyop, right, for a while. So it was quite a small community, and they used that word. But over the last 18 months, it's general language now, isn't it? Everyone's a fucking psyop. Everybody's using the word psyop and, various other things. But to me, I grew up with DC Comics. I'll admit it, I was bullied, all the rest of it. But I loved being alone. I would play, but comic books were great. But the way it trained you was that you had to either be a billionaire and your parents were murdered in front of you, you fell into a vat of fucking chemicals, or that you came, as we know now, coming from other planets, Superman. But what you're literally doing, guys, is you're training your kids to step into their superpower that they already have. So can you cover what you're doing? That game you play, because I find it phenomenal.
So, we call it a glitch in the Matrix. Right. And, so if you are open to observing it, you can see multiple. And when the Matrix is glitching, that's when you can really play, and you play games with that. So, for instance, like, we were in a drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, and I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with their iced tea. It's the best iced tea.
So I hear great things. We don't have it here, but I hear great things.
I go there for their iced tea. And so anyway, so it was like after the 15th solid white SUV pulled in, we're like, all right, Matrix, all right, something's glitching with the Matrix, let's play. Right. So then we would sit there in the car and say, okay, what do you want to see next? And the kids would literally say, I want to see a blue car. And blue car came around. And then so my oldest daughter, she's like, well, that's easy. I'm going to make she goes, I want to see a car that has markings that are so unique to it that nothing else is like it. I kid you not, 5 seconds later, this white van goes down, and they had taken like rust marks to look like tiger stripes on it, and it drove by. So that's how you just play. Like, that's how we play in the Matrix a lot. See,
that's incredible. One of the things I want to ask you, Heidi, and it's on the back of what I've just asked Abby, regarding that play, because you can teach them as in a play, because that's the way kids' minds works. Where did the care share come from? Was it intuition? Was it because you're just out of deep state Facebook jail, and we've kind of missed you for 30 days, and you're just, here's the stuff from the 27th of September. I need a hug. Yes, I fucking do. So where did it come from?
I don't, that's interesting. Well, I loved the Care Bears as a kid, and my daughter has my old Care Bears.
Right, there you go.
Where did it come from? It just came, so when I was hosting here in LA, I would host gatherings. We'd even have speakers or special events that happen, and some of the people would call me, oh, you're such a Care Bear, and then it just stuck. And then I just started using that around, and then I realized, like, when lockdown and when I was done one set, I just had a lot to say and wanted to say something. And then the vlogging came in, like blogging, and I just turned to turning that, because it was like I even started interviewing. We did vaccines and we did all these things, and I'm like, nothing's sitting. I just want to like just give a blast of light and love, just like, or a jab, stick them, and then just be like, la 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 la. You didn't feel, and then I'm like, that's like a Care Bear.
It's beautiful, I mean, I tried this kind of last year. Most people know, I lost my business. Granny Ann, as she liked to call herself, passed away because lockdown. A lot of old people in care homes, they just love for their family, they love for the visits, all these things. So I was like, right, I want to do this podcast, but I was taking, something from, Tyler and Arn or Lara and all the rest of it. So I was taking off of these great content creators, and I was like, right, okay, I'll do it this way. And then I realised I kind of lost who I was, type thing. I was like, because they're great people. You're all great people to look up to, and take a bit, right, I want to do it this way. But I was taking everything, and then I was like, well, I'm just replicating something that these people have already built up. And then because I'm classed as a unionist, which means I don't support independence for Scotland, which is fine, but you're taking, getting nasty messages about, because my gran died, they're going, well, that's one less unionist voter and stuff like that. I mean, it's quite horrendous actually. So I kind of went in and just hid away. But I was like, well, what is it I enjoy doing? Well, I enjoy making people laugh. If that's swearing or looking at me. I mean, when I was at school, my nickname was Knobs, Knobes, right? Knobs. Not because anything sexual. It was, I don't know if you have them in the US, but there's a biscuit, like a cookie in this country called a hobnob. And I made the class laugh, and somebody went, "Oh, you're a hobnob," and then it kind of shortened to, and folks started calling me Knobs, and I was like, "This is great. This will be great for the women." So you're 14, 15, and I'm going, "Hey, my name's Knobs." And they were going, "Is it because you've got 2 of them or 3?" And I'm going, "Oh, I didn't think of this." Do you know what I mean? I'm running around and, yes, I'm Knobs. How many? I'm a freak. Aye. Do you know what I mean? But I had the ability to make people laugh. And, one of the things, and you do this, it's about, healing is going back to your child, healing whatever trauma that was, and going back and remembering how happy I was even alone. You're getting shit at school, you're getting shit at home, shit out to play, and but somebody said to me recently that it was actually Nicole Frolic. It said, people don't want to revisit their childhood because of the trauma, but they don't look on it from the point of view you've already lived through it. Right, because you're a lot older. So if you're revisiting it, you're revisiting it from a point of view you've already lived through it. And I was like, oh my God, that's fucking so profound. So I've managed to revisit that kind of inner child and remember what made me happy, and what, nothing makes me happier than speaking to incredible people, but seeing you smile, seeing you laugh. But you can have a conversation and have that laughter as well, and again, I love the way this is all tying back to Raising Starseeds, that you're literally taking the control, the programming, the everything away, from what the state, and you don't even need to be deep state for this. You just need to be, this is a programming. We're in great hands. I'm sorry. I know it could be, everything could change 10 minutes from now, or it could be X amount of years, but think, to know that your kids, my granddaughter, even my own kids, they might be estranged a bit, but I know they're on a great path, towards the, the practices, or the way they see through the symbolism and various other things. And, I'm almost in tears with joy, because, just the fact that you're doing this, can you imagine if the state wanted to do this, like taught meditation every morning? There's a school in Aberdeen and they do mindfulness every morning, which, phenomenal, it's great. But it's one school out of, 100 schools. It's not good enough. Mm-hmm. There may come a time where yous are those teachers. Could you see that?
Sure. I think if I can speak for Abby and you chime in too, that we're just hoping to activate other parents who feel the same way and just don't have the support. Yeah. And then in turn, their children will activate, like it's more activation, it's more hitting. Yeah. People will pick up on the message who needs to. Yeah. But, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I often say with my kids now is in terms of the government and the public education, I say now, like, they don't get them. They don't get my kid. Like, they don't have the right or the privilege to have my children.
That's a great shit.
And every parent should feel that way.
I love how you've turned that right round, because the way they feel as if they should have that right to your kid, but you're going, no, motherfucker, no,
nope, they don't get them. And so, but yeah, in regards to, yes, that's why my God, look at here in the States, the FBI has now been given the authority to go after parents, and I love it. Because it's all about ready to collapse. Like, you're done.
It is.
Done. Yeah. And it is. So, I hope to God that these conversations start happening more and more and more, and that this does spark fire into, I would love to build like Hogwarts-like schools for these Starseeds.
Oh, I like the way you're leading in there. Absolutely. I like the way you're leading in.
Yep, I would love it. And, and Heidi and I, our goal is with Raising Starseeds is to be going around the world. And we want to go around the world and hold these conferences to help empower the parents and empower these children. Because Heidi and I both know that our role, this wave of Starseeds coming through our generation, it is us to be collapsing and building the platform, and then just step back and watch the kids take it.
Because they will literally grab that and move forward with it.
Just go. They're just going to go.
Here's a thought that just came in my head when the twos were talking there, the way you talked about turning it around in the state and various other things, and the way FBI is. I'm talking to two extremists that might be in the FBI's wanted list, so much respect to you both. Much respect to you both.
I tell people all the time they would have taken me in by now. There's been no knock on my door. I use that lemonade reference all the time because that was our peak lockdown. Like it was no traffic on the streets, and here I am like, come and get your lemonade. No masks allowed. I would have been arrested. Yeah. Not only was I not, I gave out lemonade and smiles to cops, and they were like, but keep it on. And I'm like, this is a game of chicken right now. Yeah. They're bullying people, especially in Hollywood. They're bullying people into taking jabs. They're bullying people into getting back in their ego and being like shamed and virtue signaled. And it's literally it's dark versus light. You just have to step into who you are and shine so bright. It's like, I'm literally feeling like I'm living in a whole nother realm out here, dimension, and walking amongst others. But we're all, and the good part of that is, especially at the prime lockdown, all of us unmasked were the ones out, driving at the park, walking the dog. And we're like, hey, come on over. We're having a gathering, it's
and
just
now the classed as extremists. It's absolutely insane, it's insane that, the ones shouting about it, they're trying to turn it now and saying, so the anti-vax or the vaccine hesitant, so you're scared of a needle coming from the people that are scared to breathe.
Yeah.
So here we had what you had. You've got gas, fuel prices, going through the roof. We've got all the containers, all the shippings, off each coast that you've got there, and we went through a fuel crisis. So COVID kind of went away from the mainstream media for about 2 weeks, and they just ramped up the whole kind of fuel thing. Now the fuel thing's died away. The COVID's back again. And
they're just doing everything they can, induce fear, loose. Yeah, they're trying to mentally break people.
Yeah, it's psychological war, and I've mentioned a couple times too, and I don't know if you've seen it, Robert, but Wag the Dog. I love that movie, but it shows how manufactured everything is. I want to say something about the shipping container in LA here too, because I have two quick stories. But One being, I've been watching the ships off the coast for over a year. They've been like that. Right, this is not new. This is not new. And it started after Trump's executive orders with the ports and Long Beach and stuff. And so this is not, and all our stores, everything's stocked. Yeah. So I just find it to be more loose, generating fear on the screen. I've also literally worked among the port of Long Beach. This is a crazy job. In 2019, we were shooting at the waste management area, where they turn it. 6 hours we were there. Talk about union strike. We were all burning. We all got sick. It was so bad. Right. But we had hard hats and everything. All of a sudden, I'll never forget, we were shooting in an alleyway, and all of a sudden I look over. The waste management is in the one area and surrounded by the containers. And I saw evergreen. I saw a whole area of evergreen. I was taking pictures. We turn around, and there's 3 Asian men walking through our shot, going straight through us. One was like gangster, one was suit up, and one was like almost like a teen. And they were on their phone just like nothing. Like we're in their way. And there's like 80 of us shooting a commercial, and we're just like, and they disappear in between the shipping containers. And I'm like, does anyone want to talk about trafficking? Has anybody heard of trafficking? Anyone? You want to talk?
Just the way you're slipping that in there is just.
They like put you back, and by then we had masks because of the smells and the poison. But I was like, guys, that's not weird to anybody. We're just nobody around. Shoot, what was my point of that? Oh, the ports, everything's, the shipping containers all up and down the coast. We've been watching them for a very long time. Yeah. So I just want people to be very mindful of where they put their energy. Like the stories are all out there, but how are you helping by going, oh no, let's keep talking, let's observe, let's go look for ourselves, let's share.
It goes back to what we talked about earlier, the kind of, we don't need to be in the front lines anymore. We, more that does something like this. Abby, you mentioned it about observing, but it's then choosing which kind of, no battle, but like which protest to go to. I mean, I think I've been to 3 or 4 of them, and it's just, honestly, it's just like the love is incredible. People playing music, and it wasn't about red pilling, because you're in a group of people that already kind of know, and they just wanted to get together to show everybody, getting in and out of shops. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's not to be afraid. Look, you can come and enjoy yourself. They're playing music. I mean, but like I said, the divine feminine is there, and you mess with mothers with their kids. I've been in the end of my ex-wife. Not that I'd use the kids, but do you know what I mean? And I'm done. It's okay. Hands up. So if they think they're getting away with this, with what they're doing to kids, they've got a fucking massive fright coming.
I know. I don't know what. I mean, they're damn fools if they think that this is going to happen with these children. Yeah. There's here locally. You asked earlier what's going on locally. Yeah. There's a moms group locally that is now swelled to over 5,000 moms. Wow. And it's all very, very, again, very local. But they are wide awake, and it's been really interesting to observe the slow grow of awaken that they've come to. Now their point. Now they are sharing where 7 months ago they were still saying, because I was trying to drop the jabby jabs stuff, and I was like, vaccine, those are fine. Yeah. Now they're at the point where this moms group, they are sharing all the truth of what's in those jabs. Yeah. And they're starting to go more really down rabbit holes, and I'm loving it. But
and if the FBI didn't think they were a threat, whatever we feel, on the news site or whatever, if they didn't think the power was with the parents, like the mothers, they wouldn't be coming out with stuff like this. Do you get what I mean? They are quite afraid that the power, the momentum is with the mothers to say, hey, school board, we're coming for you. We'll do it as peacefully as I can, but see, next time there's, school elections, whatever, we're coming for you. We're coming for it all.
And I'm gonna add to this is because one thing that I saw in that group, and what doesn't make sense to me. Like part of the reason why we're doing the Raising Starseeds is even amongst those awakened parents, they're still not teaching their children what's going on, what's like the truth of this world. I'll give you, for instance, my youngest is 10, and she had a little play date here, and they were upstairs playing in the playroom, and the girl went home, and my daughter said, oh my gosh, I had to turn off a television show that her friend put on. Mom, it was all about child trafficking. They were showing child trafficking in a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
And she goes, I had to tell her, like,
brilliant,
to turn it off. And I laughed. I go, what did she say? She said, Mom, she didn't know what child trafficking was, so I told her. Yeah,
good player. Honestly, that's brilliant. Do you know? Because kids are a sponge. Even if you're whispering, they still pick up, and they're so pure. With that intuition, and like you said, I mean, that's why they do it with children's cartoons. They do that because they're programming them to go when they get to a certain age, or if they see it happening. My mother, I remember, she used to say stuff like, I failed as a mother. She was a great mother. I mean, my father would be out fishing. She'd, raise 2 boys, get them up in the morning. She would go to the farm, collect vegetables. We were eating fresh fish and vegetables every night of the week. It was incredible. But I never got it until she explained it to me one day. And she says, I'll have failed as a mother if I've not brought up you to love straight away. So if me and your father pass away, if you 2 can't stand on your own 2 feet, no matter what age you are, I've failed as a mother. And I get that now. I get that because I'm a father. So I brought up my kids the same way, not to be too hard on them, but to go, look, you've got to stand on your own 2 feet. And it's a great shout that your kids are already going, hey, I'm going to red pill you. That's child trafficking. What's that off? We've got about 10 minutes left. So let's do a Harry Potter thing. Okay? So the chances are that this is, disclosure to a degree, about powers, about intuition, about, remote viewing, about astral projection, all these things. And there's a castle in Scotland, Glam's Castle, which it's based upon, and it's got lots of secret rooms. You can't get into the grounds unless you're, a celebrity. So do we think that the whole Harry Potter thing could be, a lot of the films we talk about is disclosure, the likes of, The Matrix, 2001 Space Odyssey, and to be honest, it wasn't until you mentioned it earlier, I never considered the likes of Harry Potter could be a disclosure.
Oh yeah.
Did you just get that?
I think Harry Potter,
it's total disclosure.
Yeah.
Did you, one of my biggest teachers when I was waking up was Max Spears. Do you remember Max Spears?
Yeah.
Yeah, he taught me the goo years ago, all that kind of stuff. But I think he was even talking about how he'd go to a special school. They take him to another school. And Abby, maybe we do.
So it's up the east coast of Scotland, and J.K. Rowling. But it's a great show because the stuff that you were talking about dragons with you, and it's the whole thing. So it's got to be disclosure because we're talking about muggles, and we know the way people are. They're just going about their business. A lot of people are just buying into all this because they think it'll stop. If we keep doing this, it'll stop. And you go to a Harry Potter movie, and that's exactly what they're doing, aren't they? They're going about their ways. They're not paying attention to their intuition. They're not paying attention. I'm going to go to Edinburgh rail station tomorrow and see if there's a 9 3/4. Do you know what I mean? Just in case.
I mean, the Harry Potter movie at the heart of it is all about light versus darkness.
Yeah.
And
the Dementors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a great shit. Yeah. Which is loose almost. Yeah.
Yep. And we are in the middle of a spiritual war right now, just like they were in a
all the way through it.
Light versus dark.
And then you've got the Philosopher's Stone. Which I believe it's a thing as well. But then if you talk about crystals, you talk about all these different things. You talk about Chamber of Secrets. Oh my God, we're onto something here. So yeah, it's got to be.
So I'll give you another one. They have the Cloak of Invisibility.
Yeah.
And my guides have actually taught me how you can literally make yourself invisible. And really, it's not that you're invisible at all, but really, what is seeing someone or something? It's just the perchance that you line up and you've entered into their space. So you can, if you are going into an environment where you are not wanting to perhaps run into someone, so you can literally say, I want to be invisible for them, and your guides will help you so that you never line up. So if that person might be your way, you put your guides on it, you put, the higher realms, that person turns left and turns around as you're walking by. So it literally is like they never existed and you were invisible. So you can do that already yourself.
You know what I'm going to do for the next fortnight, don't you? I'm just going to sit and, movie after movie now. Guys, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I've had a fucking whale of a time. The things that you have both said that have resonated, that popped up now when, especially the crowds that you said, Abby. Heidi, about your intuition, about how you, started the Care Bear, the Care Share thing, and everything that we seem to talk about, synced all the way back to Raising Starseeds. So this has been so enjoyable. I'm going to try and do something where hopefully you can come back on again and say, a month or 6 weeks time, because I think the way we evolve and the things change, you will always have an update. You will always have something that we can cover again. And with the feedback of the people I've had already, it's just you inspire people. The reason I'm doing this is because the community we're in. Yes, we don't always can agree. We know different things, but this has helped me heal, and to get to actually speak to people that were just an avatar on Facebook now, I get access to like this, and this is a good side of social media. This is the bit that we can really use to promote it, and to think that you guys could be teaching the world, going around in conferences and teaching. It's got to be the way, and even memes might actually become. Do you know what I mean? They might become the chapter of how you today's lesson.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love memes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Robert, for stepping into your mission, because you're very good at what you do.
Oh, no.
You're a very good human, and beyond. And I'm grateful that you started doing this, because you're very easy to talk to, and I can understand you. So thank you.
Yeah.
Your little
slowed it right down.
We're on the same frequency. That's what I knew. I hear you, I feel you, I see you, and I thank you.
No,
so thank you for asking.
It's been an absolute honor.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you started it, because it makes our world come together even closer. More starseeds, meeting each other and sharing this energy space together. And Heidi and I, and just like you, we're just letting it happen, and we're just we're trusting spirit, we're trusting our higher selves, our guides. It's just going to be lining up, and it's going to be growing. And just like you and Heidi and I, we just have to start it. So we just start it, and we're going to let it be what it turns into.
Yeah, and it's a great attitude to have, is that almost like if you get to change one person or help one person, that benefits you. But to me as well, it helps me heal, but it helps us connect more. People get the chance to see US, UK, coming together and go, look, there's we are all one. We really are. We're there's it's only ocean. I mean, somebody said, there's like 7 named oceans in the world, but it's really just one. And I was like, fuck, that's even mind blowing. Do you know what I mean? When you think about it, yes, it's Atlantic, yes, it's North Sea, yes, it's the Pacific, but there's not one bit of land that covers it all. Then it separates. It's just one giant ocean. I'm like, oh, that's great. Do you know? It's just simple things like that. Guys, thank you. Honestly, I'm humbled. I'm absolutely humbled. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. You've made me laugh. You've made me resonate. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. You've given me food for thought. And I'm so looking forward to... When's your next Raising Starseed?
Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday, yeah.
When I edit this, post that, I'll put the link to your YouTube channel at the bottom so folk can come and find you. And that's how we support each other. You know, folk come along, oh, I like that, we'll go there. So guys, honestly, thank you so much, and I'd love to do this, and you know, in a few weeks again, we can see how yous are getting on. We can have another riot, more cussing, more swearing,
we can start
more
swearing.
Yeah, motherfucker!
I didn't get to swear.
Do it now.
Dragons. I want to talk about
Yeah.
dragons.
Oh, well, I really want to hone down on you. Yeah, I really want. So I'm gonna really watch a lot of Harry Potter stuff, a lot of kind of old stuff with dragons. So I'm gonna have a list. I won't do it, but I'll have a list of questions because of the dragons. Because the meme that was posted of the semi-naked woman, and somebody went, "You mentioned about the dragon," and I went, "Oh, fucking dragon," and then you went there. And I'm like, what dragon? I just see a naked woman. And I'm like, oh right, there's a dragon's head. I genuinely did not see it. I'm like, yeah, I really need to be with a woman really fucking quickly, because my eyes are going going that way. Yeah, like manifest a woman for Robert. Hallelujah. Guys, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. I'm sure we'll speak to each other on Facebook. I love you all so much. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Heidi, do you want to swear before we go?
Fuck yeah.
Yay!
Slam us some slack, Jack. Chill, motherfucker. I don't speak no job anyhow.
Much love to your families. Bye-bye. Bye. 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 Bye.